Hello, friends. My name is DJ Chuang, and I'm making this video to share my personal experiences on being with medication to treat my mental health condition. And I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 23 years ago at the age of 34, which probably suggests that I had lived as a highly functioning person and wasn't diagnosed nor treated for my depression or mood swings prior to that diagnosis. And as it is common for many of us, we don't go seek mental health professionals or treatment or diagnosis until there is a problem or a crisis. And so at the age of 34, I had a difficult job transition, and that triggered my emotional instability, if I could say it that way. And for the past 23 years, I've been on medication and also see a psychologist for my overall well being. And I'm very grateful to be alive. And I have found medication and therapy both to be very, very helpful. And those are not the only two things that I need to be well. I also have to work, do the hard work of making some lifestyle adjustments, getting a lot of sleep, eating healthy, decently healthy. I'm not obsessed with a rigorous diet, some healthy exercise, healthy relationships, maintaining, managing, engaging on an active spiritual life as a Christian, and also having a support group. So that's a quick overview of the things that I do to maintain my recovery from my mental health diagnosis. And currently, I am taking two medications. One's called Lexapro, and the other one is called Depakote. I take the generic versions of those. Escitalopram is the generic version of Lexapro, and Devalproex is the generic version of Depakote. And those two are the medications I'm currently taking every day. In fact, I just picked up my refills just an hour ago from my pharmacist. And I've been stable, meaning I've been taking the same medication for the past 3 or 4 years. And I did make an adjustment um, probably 2 years ago. So previously, I'm currently on 2 medications. Previously, I was on 3 medications. And the third medication that I was also taking is called Wellbutrin. And the generic version of that is bupropion. And so I was on 3 medication. And the reason I was on those 3 medications was in 2017, I had a personal crisis that put me in the hospital. You might call it the psych ward for 3 days. In California, they call that a 5150, a mandatory hold for 72 hours, because I was behaving strangely and potentially dangerous to myself or to others, probably mostly to myself. I had some psychosis, you could call it, because I thought I was able to play Jedi mind tricks, and I thought I was invisible for a little bit, behaving strangely during that day, February 1st, 2017. I'll add a link in the description so you can watch that video about my mental health journey through that year of crisis. But on this video, I just want to focus on the experience I've had with these medication. Again, I'm just a person with lived experience. I don't have a medical degree. I don't have a psychology degree. And part of my growing and my self-care is learning about these things regarding mental health. I've read dozens of books about it. I've taken a mental health coaching course. I've just finished a church counseling course with Saddleback Church, and I'm the host of a support group called Living Grace that meets on Zoom Thursday nights. So if you're interested in some of those other things that have been helpful to me in my journey, happy to share. Just add a comment or you can message me. I'm very findable on social media. But back to the medication before I take too many tangents. So I'm blessed and have a body that doesn't have a lot of side effects with medication. So often when I'm prescribed medication, I can just take it and adjust to it pretty easily. Usually it takes 4 to 6 weeks for a medication to kick into full effectiveness, efficacy, as they would call it. I don't have the notes in front of me, but I believe Lexapro gives me a basic lift from my mild depression. And then Depakote gives me a stabilizer that evens out my mood swings. So it's not as up and down drastic, but it's a little more evened out. So that's what Depakote does in my body, in my mind, in my brain chemistry. You can definitely look that up for the medical definition of what they're designed to do. But if I remember correctly, one evens out my mood swings, makes it a bit smoother instead of rapidly up and down. And then the other one lifts my bottom part a little bit higher up. So avoid the lows. Same thing with Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin lifts the bottom up higher for me. So my overall mood and affect and emotional state is higher instead of low. And when I say low, it feels like depression. And depression is, for me, is having a lot of negative thoughts that I can't get rid of. And no matter how hard I think or behave or change my habits, those negative thoughts are just gray clouds over my mind. And so the medication clears my mind and helps me to think more clearly. And then I'm able to make decisions that are healthy and do the work that I need to do to take care of my whole life. So that's what medication generally does for me. Previous to that, when I had my crisis in 2017, it was a 9-month recovery process to find the right mix of medication. When I had left the hospital, I was on a medication called Risperdal. And what that did for me is it basically sedated me so that I could be safe. And it felt like I was numb. I didn't have a lot of thoughts. I wasn't able to take initiative. And it kept me safe, but I lost a lot of the vibrancy and energy I needed to be fully functional in my daily life, to work and to engage with people in relationships. And so after talking with my therapist for 2.5, 3 months, they advised me to consider changing my medication and really be an advocate for myself. So self advocacy is very valuable in your mental health journey. If you're not able to do it yourself, find a friend or family member who will advocate for your well being. And so, because of my therapist's advocacy, I was able to change my medication off of Risperdal and onto the three that stabilized me and gave me my energy back: Lexapro, Depakote, and Wellbutrin. And because I've been doing so well over the past 2 or 3 years, then I talked with my nurse practitioner, my psychiatrist, who slowly weaned me off of the Wellbutrin, and we would keep me monitored through regular check-ins. And I think I checked in every 2 weeks or every month to say, hey, how are you doing? how are your behaviors? How are you feeling? What are you sensing? So that's how you monitor the effect of the pharmaceuticals, psychotropics, sometimes it's called. And so I was able to get off of Wellbutrin. And because I travel for work sometimes, um, I don't want to get off, or yeah, my choice. I don't want to get off of all the medications I'm currently taking because it helps me to stay stable and also gives me a little margin and tolerance for stress that might come in life. And so another way to look at what the medication does for me, it keeps me stable, helps my mind to stay clear, helps to even out my mood swings so I can make good and healthy decisions. So I still have to be very actively engaged in living my life. And then I'm able to take a little more stress than I would if I wasn't. Perception and perspective on how medication helps me get through life, helps me live healthy, helps me as a part of my overall well being and self care. And it complements what my spirituality does, what my therapist provides, my healthy living habits. In terms of sleep, I sleep 9 hours a night plus an afternoon nap. So after recording this video, I'm going to go take a nap. Okay, so that's my medical journey. I've also taken a few other ones along the way. I won't mention all the names, but I'll just focus on the three that I'm most recently have taken and have experiences with. And again, my body is blessed to easily adjust to different medications. I haven't had a lot of side effects, or minimal or no side effects. I think if I were to think back 23 years ago when I first started, it did make me a little more tired. And if you read the warning label on pharmaceuticals, there's all these potential side effects, and not to operate heavy machinery and things like that. But over the years, my body has adjusted. And so this is my new normal, healthy living with medication, being productive, functional, and a relatively happy life. So I thank God, my personal Savior, Jesus Christ, as a spiritual person. So that's been a valuable part of my recovery journey. So I want to acknowledge that as well. So wherever your health journey will lead you, I hope this is helpful encouragement and insight to you, and happy to answer any questions if you would leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.